Relay, we're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
Okay, we'll start with this. Boxing legend, icon, Mike Tyson advises Alexander Usyk to stand his ground with Fury. Don't run around.
There's some truth to that.
If the fight actually takes place, and it actually happens, it'll be in Tyson Fury's neck of the woods, and Alexander Usyk's got to make it decisive.
Can't afford to spend long spells moving, just moving and not punching.
Usyk can't run forever. Tyson's going to get him in the corner. He's going to get him with some punches, and he's going to hurt him eventually. Mike Tyson told ID Boxing. He's going to run all night. He has to stay and fight to win the fight. At some particular time, he's going to have to stand and fight. He can't run and box all night. They're not going to give him a decision now. Not with Tyson. They want to see some fighting. After watching him and Deontay Wilder in a fight, they ain't going to go for no running and hitting.
There's truth to what Mike Tyson is saying.
Usyk has to make it decisive. The saving grace is that I don't actually think it's Usyk's intention to spend most of the fight staying on the outside, sticking and moving, because he's the naturally smaller fighter.
No, he's a sitting duck out there.
If I had to guess what Alexander Usyk's plan of action, his strategy might be ahead of this fight with the much bigger, naturally bigger man in Tyson Fury, I'd guess that it's his intention to dominate the pocket, get mid-range to inside on Tyson Fury.
I don't think it's his plan to stay on the outside. Why would it be?
Tyson Fury's the taller guy with the longer arms. You try to stay on the outside of that guy, he can still touch you with punches.
No, I don't think Usyk's trying to stay on the outside of him. I think he's trying to get mid-range to inside on him.
Mid-range in particular, just close enough that he can touch Tyson Fury with shots, touch him with punches, and get out of the way of Tyson's punches, get under or around his shots.
Just close enough that he can touch him, but not so close that Tyson Fury can tie him up and then lean on it.
Easier said than done, I know, but I think that's what the plan is. At that range, at that proximity, Alexander Usyk might actually have an advantage because he's the shorter guy with the shorter arms, whereas Tyson Fury, he's a lot taller, a lot longer, more gangly. It's harder for a guy with those kinds of physical dimensions to string together shots, effective ones, when the other man is so close to him. The other man is such a small target.
Not just any target.
There are very few fighters that are as athletic and coordinated, simultaneously coordinated, as an Alexander Usyk, a guy who can slip, roll, and ride punches, bob and weave under, sweeping hooks, counter in kind.
Might be hard to catch.
Tyson Fury's not faster than Alexander Usyk. Every time you ask somebody what they think about this fight and how they think it's going to go, they always bring up Tyson Fury's size.
That he's bigger than Usyk, but he's not faster.
No, I don't think Tyson Fury has faster hands or faster feet than Alexander Usyk, even if he has longer strides.
He's not faster.
Tyson Fury's known for having good punch resistance and having a good engine, at least a better engine, than the guys he shares the ring with. Other lumbering lummoxes like himself, but I don't know that he has a better engine than Alexander Usyk.
They're both known for having very good cardio, but Usyk's a lot smaller.
I mean, that Tyson Fury has a good engine and he's a well-coordinated boxer for a man his size, that's all relative to who he's sharing the ring with. And he is a more well-coordinated heavyweight than most other heavyweights, but I don't think for a second he's a more well-coordinated heavyweight than Alexander Usyk.
Because Usyk's not a natural heavyweight. He's naturally smaller.
Smaller than Fury, with a lower center of gravity.
That makes him more balanced.
Not carrying as much weight. He's the shorter guy with the shorter arms, which means mid-range to inside. He will be a little bit faster. String punches together a bit quicker than Tyson Fury would. All that wingspan, all that reach.
Hard for a guy that size to string together punches at that range.
A big guy like Usyk, that's a different kettle of fish.
It is.
So while Mike Tyson is right that Usyk can't spend long spells just moving and not punching, not fighting, he can't afford to do that in Tyson Fury's neck of the woods. I don't think it's his intention to.
I think he plans on staying with and staying close to Tyson Fury. The question is this fight even going to happen?
Yeah, he wanted to start working after the last fight, so Tyson's always wanting to work. He's a man's man. He's ready to work all the time. He wants to fight regularly, but those things are not always possible. And he wants to fight the top and the best guys, and those things aren't always possible. We can only do what we're allowed to do. You can't control someone else and what they want to do.
Sugar Hill Stewart is saying Tyson Fury is eager to, quote-unquote, get back into camp as talks continue over an undisputed bout against Usyk, and that's not encouraging.
Nope.
We're approximately a little over 8 weeks out from an April 29th date.
That's when they said they want to do this thing at the end of April.
And Tyson Fury has not started camp. The two teams are reported to be at an impasse over the money, and there's little more than 8 weeks left between now and April 29th. So you have to start to wonder if this fight is even going to happen.
The Fury fans are already preemptively blaming Alexander Usyk, citing greed over financials.
Should the fight fall apart, even though Alexander Usyk historically is not a guy who's ever struggled to get a fight done. Tyson Fury, on the other hand,
You know how it goes, and you know how it goes with Fury's fans.
everything is always somebody else's fault, even when he brazenly contradicts himself. They've already started up with that.
They're blaming Usyk.
I've already seen one or two guys pretending that they're eager to see Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder for a fourth time. They've already started up with that.
Talked about that last week.
And all these mental gymnastics that they could continue to support this guy if this fight falls apart, just to see him beat up a guy he beat up 2 times already.
You see how it looks.
It's not encouraging. Now, most other fight fans are already blaming Tyson Fury for the fight's potential collapse because this is a guy who can't go into a set of negotiations
Without a myriad of problems.
pulling out on Ustinov, not honoring the Vladimir Klitschko rematch clause, jumping into bed with Top Rank in between the first Wilder fight and the second,
All that nonsense with Anthony Joshua.
all those unnecessary deadlines, and now this. Arguments over the financials with Alexander Usyk from the same guy that told you he doesn't care about money. Then what's the holdup?
Money.
Money is the holdup. I hope the fight happens, but as stated, it's not looking encouraging. We'll see what happens. In men's welterweight news, Pacquiao advisor says he's waiting on promoter Eddie Hearn for a possible Conor Benn fight.
In spite of everything that's going on between Conor Benn and the BBBOC, the whole egg thing, the banned substances.
The upcoming Piers Morgan tell-all interview this Monday, the Pacquiao people are open to a Conor Benn fight, or at least
a conversation.
Hearn recently stated that he hopes to get Benn into the ring by June. The Matchroom had also hinted that he would be willing to have Benn fight in a foreign country in the event that Benn does not get a favorable ruling from the board. Hearn has said it's very likely that Benn's next fight will take place in America.
I told you when this whole thing kicked off that his issues with the BBBOC can only hinder his career, but for so long.
He could always fight in America. He could always fight in Mexico, south of the border. Matchroom just staged a show there last night. He could always fight in Saudi, Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
They can only keep him out for so long.
Just the other day, the head of the BBBOC stated he would like to see the foreign commissions fall in line with their own stance on Conor Benn, but he shouldn't be allowed to box.
Shouldn't be given a license.
Robert Smith, the head of the board, told The Guardian that he hopes other commissions, such as Las Vegas and New York, will not approve Benn to fight before legitimate evidence in favor of his innocence materializes. Pacquiao, 44, came out of retirement last December to fight South Korean mixed martial artist DKU in an exhibition bout. Pacquiao retired in 2021 on the heels of losing a decision to Yordanis Ugas.
And now his own team want to put him in there with Conor Benn.
Likely depending on what the money looks like, what the money is, and I'm sure that Eddie Hearn can finagle a situation where Manny Pacquiao is paid handsomely to box Conor Benn somewhere else in the world, if not in the United Kingdom.
The boxing world doesn't know how it wants to feel about doping in the sport.
This is a perfect example. In spite of everything that's going on with Conor right now, Manny Pacquiao's team is still willing to entertain a fight with him.
I mean, consider this. Consider that after it came out behind the scenes that Conor Benn had tested positive for something, Chris Eubank Jr. was still willing to fight him.
And now that shit has officially hit the fan and everybody knows what happened, everybody knows what's going on, the Pacquiao people are willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
They're still willing to fight this guy.
Boxing doesn't know how it wants to feel about doping in the sport, and maybe it's because the people in boxing, the fans, the fighters, the managers, and the promoters, they're not as altruistic as they let on.
And a good number of them are a bunch of fucking hypocrites.
That for the most part, the boxing world doesn't believe this entire explanation the WBC cooked up, but they don't believe Conor Benn either. And yet,
Team Pacquiao, of all people, are giving him the benefit of the doubt.
why?
Money.
Money. The money they stand to make from a Conor Benn fight. That's why everybody's got a price. A representative for Manny Pacquiao is willing to believe that Conor Benn is a clean fighter, a view that could possibly go a long way towards making a fight between the two welterweights. Sean Gibbons, an advisor to 8-division champion and politician from the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao, said in a recent interview that he is inclined to think that England's Benn is not the drug cheat as his name suggests these days, especially in the wake of a ruling from the World Boxing Council. Last month, the WBC determined that Benn's 2 positive drug tests could be explained by an abnormally high consumption of eggs, resulting in Benn returning to their welterweight rankings.
Now, why would Team Pacquiao, who have the most to lose in sharing the ring with a drug cheat, why would they believe him when they have the most to lose?
Because they also have the most to gain, the most money.
If you want to be naive, go be naive by yourself.
Talk of a Pacquiao versus Benn fight has ramped up in recent days after Sean Gibbons retweeted a mock poster for that matchup. Although the WBC verdict has a small sphere of influence pertaining solely to Benn's standing within that organization, it has become a rallying point for Benn and his supporters as a sign of his total innocence, with many characterizing the ruling as an outright vindication of his drug results.
Even though Conor Benn himself, he's not going with that explanation.
Sean Gibbons apparently also perceives the WBC ruling as exculpatory. Gibbons said he wants to give Benn the quote-unquote benefit of the doubt because of an incident involving a failed drug test with one of his former fighters.
Retired former featherweight champion Orlando Salido back in 2006.
I'm telling you, boxing as an industry, it doesn't know how it wants to feel about doping in the sport.
Lifetime ban, no lifetime ban.
Bought testicles, horse meat, dick pills.
Gas station dick pills.
Tainted meat, tainted eggs, tainted tea when it came to Oscar Valdez.
Remember that?
I'm telling you, boxing as an industry, it doesn't know how it wants to feel about doping in the sport.
It doesn't.
All I can say is it's confusing, Gibbons said of the drama stemming from Benn's drug test in an interview with FightHype.com. I don't know about the 270-page report. I don't know about the eggs, whatever. But I know the man was cleared.
Not completely.
And I've got to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I had a fighter, Orlando Salido. They said he tested positive for nandrolone. I know Orlando Salido never did a thing in his life. So when something like this happens, and they have to study, and they have to look at it, I give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Gibbons made it clear that there's still a long way to go to make a fight between Pacquiao and Benn, adding that if the matchup ever materialized, it would likely take place in the Middle East, for Middle East money.
Of course.
There are discussions, but there's a long way to go, Gibbons said. I mean, would people love to see Manny in the ring? Yeah. Conor? Yeah. 2 big names. So it's kind of just been thrown out there, and there's where it's kind of at.
Yeah.
It's an idea that Eddie Hearn had, and Manny said, I'm up to hear about it, but until Conor got cleared by the WBC for the issues with the tests, Manny wouldn't fight him. Now that the guy's cleared, so you know, it can happen. I think it would be a fun fight.
I don't think a lot of people would give Conor Benn credit for beating a 44-year-old Manny Pacquiao.
But I do think a lot of people would watch it.
Despite of all the pearl clutching we're seeing.
Lou DiBella's a prime example. Lou DiBella, who stated, "Is this infuriating to anyone else? The sad part is, these are the truest words Conor has said. There's no real ped testing in boxing. There's no true regulation, enforcement, and it's easy to turn the system on its ass. Now he's bigger, now Piers wants him, we live in a sad world."
Oh, so when Conor's doping, it's infuriating, but when Jean Pascal's doing it...
Doesn't seem to bother Lou. A Twitter account that goes by the name Boxing Talk 18 pointed that out, saying, Lou only has this energy for Eddie's fighters. Where was this for Jean Pascal?
Jean Pascal, who not that long ago tested positive for 4 banned substances, not just 1 like Conor.
And do you think afterwards that stopped Lou DiBella from working with that guy?
No.
Sure, Jean Pascal has a lofty explanation for his situation, the same as Conor.
These hypocrites pick and choose when and what they want to be mad at, and who.
That's why Conor will be back in no time. And finally, some interesting quotes from former 2-division champion Danny Garcia, who dismissed the possible Tony Harrison clash. Me fighting him would only help him.
Who does this guy think he is?
Tony Harrison, former world champion at 154 pounds, has brazenly mentioned Garcia as someone he would love to take on in the immediate future. Although the former belt holder at both 140 and 147 pounds has the utmost respect for Harrison, from a monetary standpoint, a showdown against the Detroit native doesn't exactly pique Garcia's financial interests. I like Tony Harrison, said Garcia during an interview with YSM Sports Media. I think he's a good fighter, but that's not the fight I'm looking for. I want big-name fights. I'm not saying he's not a big name, but he's not going to give me the $10 million fight. At this point in my career, I want big names only. Anything that makes sense.
Did you get $10 million to box Jose Benavidez?
In the last 2 years, that's the only fight Danny Garcia has had. A Jose Benavidez fight, and I'm fairly confident nobody gave Danny Garcia $10 million to box that guy, so what's with the aversion to box Tony? Tony is currently in Australia.
He's vying to become the WBO's interim champion by way of a fight with Tim Tszyu, and if he wins, he will be in line to challenge Jermell Charlo for a third time.
In some ways, he's a lot more relevant to today's junior middleweight division than Danny Garcia is. As for what could be next for Danny Garcia, only time will tell. Ultimately, no matter who he shares the ring with next, Garcia won't saunter through those ropes unless he receives a gigantic payday to make it worth his while. Me fighting him would only help him. Like,
what?
Like I would give him a name. I don't have a problem with that. I helped Porter. I helped Thurman. People knew who they were, but I made them bigger stars. At this point in my career, big names only, big dollar signs. I don't have time to be wasting.
What?
What big names at 154 pounds is Danny about to fight? What big names at 160? What's this guy talking about?
Danny's one of these guys that just finds a sophisticated way of saying he don't want no problems with Tony.
I mean, that's the gist of it. You can't tell the interviewers that you ain't got no time for a Tony Harrison when you just shared the ring with a lesser-known guy in Jose Benavidez.
You made time for him.
Shout out all of 2021. Boxed Jose in July of 2022, and that's all he did last year. That's it.
The idea of Danny Garcia turning his nose up at a Tony Harrison fight, let me tell you something. Danny Garcia here today is in no position to turn his nose up at anybody.
He's not a world champion, and he's not in line to fight for a world title. Not at 154, not at 160.
For the most part, he seems a quasi-retired fighter.
Waiting for a $10 million purse, a $10 million payday. Who's going to give you $10 million? To do what?
Lose?
You step up in class with those boys at 154, those boys at 160. That's what's going to happen. We all know it.
You're just trying to find a fancy way of saying you're playing it safe.
Danny Garcia is the guy who never found the time to fight Terrence Crawford, for example, but he did find time to fight a guy that Terrence knocked out. Jose Benavidez.
It's the kind of logic that he employs.
Kind of logic based on his comments that really doesn't hold up to scrutiny.
Doesn't make sense.
Till you realize it's a risks versus rewards kind of deal. That's the only way you can make it make sense. Danny Garcia is looking to circumvent all the risks.
Tony Harrison would be a risky fight for Danny.
Would have been, I should say, since he has no intention of facing him.
Truth, I don't know who he plans on fighting. Who's going to give him $10 million?
I don't even think a Jermell Charlo fight. Jermell Charlo, the junior middleweight division's undisputed champion, I don't think he could get $10 million fighting that guy.
He might as well retire.